So if keto lowered your blood sugar, this video might make you feel a little uncomfortable, I would say. But also, it might save you years of confusion. So stay with me. All right, let me be totally crystal clear up front because people love to take this out of context. I'm not here to tell you low carb can't lower your blood sugar. It can. All right, that part's real. I'm here to explain to you why lowering your glucose by ripping out all the carbs or minimizing them is not the same exact thing as reversing your diabetes and regaining your carb tolerance again. All right, there's a big difference between that, a big one. And nobody in the low carb world is telling you about it. All right. And so quick intro for me. I'm Dr. Jonar Deusman, board certified physician, diabetes reversal coach, and a former pre-diabetic myself. And here's the part that matters for this video. I tried keto myself for about a year. Okay. And this was years ago when I got diagnosed with insulin resistance myself. I went low carb. And yeah, I lost some weight, but my brain felt foggy. I was totally clouded most of the day and I was anxious at every single meal, constantly doing sort of like math in my head, scared of, one wrong bite. It led me straight to burnout. All right. So I know the appeal. I know the trap from the inside. I've walked the path myself, but what finally worked for me was not fear of carbs and never eating them again. It was fixing the conditions that let my body actually handle carbs again. And maybe this is you right now. You cut the rice, the bread, the fruit, the noodles. Yeah, your numbers come down. Great. Everybody cheers you on. Yeah, see, keto works, they tell you. And then life happens, right? It's a birthday party, or you go on vacation, it's a holiday, or you had a stressful month at work. And then one carb heavy meal just sends your blood sugars to the moon. And I know because I've been there. And now you're sitting there wondering, am I actually free? Or did I just trap myself in a much tinier and, contained food list? So let's just sort this all out right now. I got 5 truths for you. Here we go. Number one, okay, low carb can drop your blood sugar without fixing the actual problem. Okay. And here's the mechanics behind it. If you stop eating most carbs, of course your blood sugar will come down. There's just less glucose coming in from your food. Less sugar in, lower numbers. Yeah, simple math, right? But the question nobody asks is, did your body actually get better, your metabolism improve at moving glucose into your cells, or did you just stop giving it the challenge? And so, if I can give you a metaphor, remember like how this works. Insulin is the key that unlocks your cells to let sugar in. With insulin resistance, that lock is rusty. And so the key keeps jamming. So, tell me if your key keeps jamming in a rusty lock, does throwing the key away fix the lock? No, the lock's still rusty and you just stopped using it. And carbs really are the key. Insulin resistance is the rusty lock, and low carb doesn't oil the lock. It just hides the key in a drawer somewhere, which means the second carbs come back to play, boom, spike, weight gain, weight comes back on, right back where you started. And so, here's the bumper sticker. Removing the test is not the same thing as passing the test. You got to ask yourself honestly, am I getting better at handling carbs, or am I just avoiding them and calling it progress? Okay, truth number two, a lower A1C is not automatic reversal. Now, somebody's already typing in the comments, but Dr. Jonar, my A1C went down on keto. And you know what? Yeah, that matters. It can. I'm not going to wave that away. It does do that. A lower A1C can be genuinely useful, especially clinically. But there's a catch to that, okay? If the only way that number comes down and stays down is by never eating a real amount of carbs again for the rest of your life, that's not food freedom, okay? That's blood sugar suppression. And that's like jail. You're imprisoned by that. Those are two very different things. It's like hearing your, for example, like smoke alarm screaming going off in your house, climbing up on a chair and just yanking the battery out or like knocking out the smoke alarm. Yeah, the noise stops. Sweet. Relief from like that annoying alarm sound. But did you check if the fire is still burning? Because alarm going quiet doesn't mean the house is safe and the fire is out. So pair every A1C win with a deeper question. Did your insulin sensitivity actually improve? What about your cholesterol markers, your LDL, your HDL, your muscle, your sleep, your stress, your ability to sit at a normal dining table and eat a normal proper meal? That's that's the real scoreboard, not just those numbers, your blood sugar and your A1C. Okay. And one important note here, words like reversal and remission, they really should be used carefully with your doctor in the loop too, especially in like your medication management if you're on medication. I'm not throwing those words around loosely, okay? And you shouldn't either. Because even when the numbers look great on paper, the plan still has to survive your actual real life. All right. And so, real quick, if you want diabetes education that's not keto propaganda and not the generic eat less, move more, you've heard that like 1,000 times. Subscribe to my channel, okay? I will help you teach the middle way through all of this. Science-backed methods built for your real life that are practical, that are flexible, and it won't ask you to give up your culture or your sanity. That's the lane we're in, okay? Let's get back to it. So, truth number three. A diet that only works in isolation will fall apart in community. And so, for a lot of folks out there, yes, keto works great right up until a birthday party or a family get together, a wedding, a vacation, a brutal stretch at work, or the food you grew up with shows up on the table. And this hits especially for my fellow Asian friends out there, okay? Because the rice, the noodles, the dumplings, roti, the shared family meal, those aren't optional little extras you can just delete. All right? That's connection. That's our love language. You know, that it's respect also. And that's identity when it comes down to it. And so a plan that asks you to skip your own family's table forever, that's not that's not a plan most human beings can keep up. And this is what kills me when people rebound after keto, they beat themselves up. Oh, I have no willpower. I just failed. And no, you didn't. Hear me out, okay? A lot of the time, it wasn't that you failed. It was the plan that failed you. The plan never taught you how to handle carbs in the real way and in your real life that you actually live. It only taught you how to run from them. And that's a fragile strategy, you know, that breaks the moment. For example, stress hits, right? If you're stressed at work late at night, what ends up happening? Maybe you're emotional eating, right? And fragile strategies snap the second life gets loud. So, you know, check this out. Can you follow this at a family gathering without shame or a fight? Do you feel free around food, for example, or terrified of even just like one bite? Or do you actually like know how to eat carbs strategically or only how to avoid them altogether? You know, but like sustainability isn't even my biggest concern, though that is a big one. We got to talk about the risk here. And so what I mean by this is this brings us to truth number four. Okay. A glucose win that worsens your heart risk is that's not a clean win. And here's something people skip right over. If you've got type 2 diabetes, you've already got an elevated risk for cardiovascular disease, something like a heart attack, for example, that is potentially fatal. And that's just the reality of the condition. And now some versions of, for example, the ketogenic diet or even like carnivore diet, they're loaded, jam-packed with saturated fat and cholesterol and very low in fiber, if any. And for some folks, that can be a real problem for LDL cholesterol, that bad cholesterol, or for gut health, right? I know a lot of people on keto or carnivore, they have gut issues because they can't move their bowels normally. They get constipated, bloated. And so gut health matters a lot. And then also for long-term metabolic health. And so keto or even carnivore don't come without their own risks. And that's a real threat. And now not everybody responds the same way. Some people's lipid panels, like their bad cholesterols, especially, they might hold steady, but some don't. And that's exactly why you monitor your labs instead of guessing. But what I've noticed is that sort of influencer who showed you their like glucose dropping rarely comes back 6 months later to show you their lipid panel, okay, their cholesterol levels. So let me say like where I actually stand on this because people love to twist this around. My stance is not all low carb is evil. That's not my stance, okay? My stance is don't trade one risk for another and slap the word, for example, reversal on it. So if you do go low carb, fine, that's your call. That's your decision, right? Then monitor it like an adult. Check your cholesterol levels, your ApoB, if you can get it, your triglycerides, your HDL, kidney markers, your energy. Don't use a diet as an excuse to just ditch everything else, the fiber, the veggies, the sleep, the muscle, the stress management. And please do not stop any medication without your doctor being in the loop. All right. So if it's not carb fear and it's not dietary extremes, what's the alternative you might be asking? And this leads to truth number five. All right. And this is the whole point of everything I do. It's the middle way that I teach all the folks I work with in my health coaching program. All right. And I want to be 100% clear on this because people always hear this wrong. The middle way is not eat unlimited carbs, go nuts, or eat everything in moderation. No, 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 no. It's eating carbs with strategy while you upgrade the body that receives them. Okay. So here's the reframe. Don't just lower your carbs or cut them out altogether. All right. Raise your body's capacity and your metabolism's ability to handle them properly. So what's that look like in real life, right? Mostly whole foods, all right? A lot of high fiber, all right? A lot of anti-inflammatory meals. Fiber and veggies first, no matter what, all right? Then you can have your protein, all right? But if you're going to eat animal protein, make it lean. And then last, the carbs, okay? A walk after you eat, a little resistance training to build muscle because muscle is where your blood sugar goes like after a meal to get burned. And adequate sleep, at least 7 hours, better stress management tools because poorly controlled stress, emotional stress leads to elevated cortisol, and cortisol has a direct effect on your blood sugar and makes you at risk for insulin resistance. So if you got a CGM, use that data to learn. The goal was never to prove carbs are harmless, okay? The goal is to help your body get good at trending them again. That's actually carbohydrate tolerance or carb tolerance, not carb avoidance. And that's the difference between healing and just hiding. All right. And the thing is, you don't need to. You can still get there without having to avoid carbs. All right. So instead of the carb panic, try a carb experiment. Take the exact same carb you were scared of, eat it with the sequence I just mentioned, and take a walk after. And notice and watch what your blood sugars do and how your body responds. Turn that fear into data and take away the judgment and the shame and the guilt. Just you take on like the scientist approach and just treat this as an experiment, and you might be surprised, okay? And you know how I do it. This is never just theory. So tonight, I'm going to give you 5 quick things you can utilize right away. One, write down the carbs you're most scared of. Maybe it is rice. It could be bread. Maybe it's like noodles. Or maybe it's fruit. That's a big one for our folks. Or potatoes. Whatever it is for you, okay? Number two, pick one of them and build a strategic meal around it. Fiber first, okay? Then protein second, and then last but not least, the carbs. All right. You can, within number two, you can even alter the portion of the carbs you typically eat. Instead of what you normally eat, cut it in half or 1/4. All right. And then third, walk for 10 minutes after you eat the meal. All right. And if you have a CGM, great. That's number four. Use that CGM. Or you have a, glucometer finger stick, use that. Check your response like 1 to 2 hours afterwards and treat that number as data, not a reason to shame yourself. All right. And then number five, if you're on any glucose lowering medication, coordinate any big carb changes that you make with your doctor first, always. All right. And that's it. One meal done with strategy instead of fear. That's the whole shift. Okay. And once you feel it starting to work once, you can't unsee it. So I want to just bring this all home. Everything you've been told up until now about ketogenic diet, low carb, and even carnivore, it's not wrong because carbs don't matter. Carbs do matter. They absolutely do. I think the deeper question is the one that actually will change your life and move the needle. And it's this, like, can your body process carbs properly? And if your plan only works by avoiding carbs forever, that's not freedom. All right. That's not metabolic freedom. That's a smaller life dressed up as a win. And the real goal isn't a smaller plate. All right. It's stronger metabolism. And so if you're ready to stop white knuckling some extreme diets like keto or carnivore or even 100% vegan, if you're tired of doing that, you actually want to build a strategy that fits your real life, head to fortruthhealthcoaching.com/call and book a free diabetes reversal assessment with me, and we'll look at where you're at right now, figure out if this is the right fit for you, okay? No pressure, just a real conversation with a doctor, a health coach, and a former pre-diabetic, ultimately with someone who cares, all right? And you've carried this long enough. Let's try to figure this out, all right, together. So I'll see you on the next one. Peace.